Thank you.
All right. Are we live? Is it working now? Okay, excellent. My apologies. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next Caveman on Smoke Signal stream. I'm Nerd here. We're joined with the usual people. Lead artist of Wani, Mono, the lead writer of Wani, Workanon, and Sly here. We are the lead writer and artist on Exit 665. We have a number of cool updates for you today. Uh, So the first thing I want to mention is that once again I'm mentioning that streams are going to be taking place on the second Mondays of each month as opposed to the first one due to a slight scheduling issue. We apologize for the inconvenience and hopefully we can be more consistent in keeping it this way in the future. So everyone can now go and introduce themselves. Go right ahead, Sly.
Yeah, as Nerd said, I'm one of the head writers of Exit 665 and also helping with the writing for Wani.
I'm Work. I am the head writer for the Wani project. I am not helping out with the writing of Exit 665, though, just from scheduling stuff.
Unless we have Mono, and it doesn't seem like he is going. Oh.
Yep, I'm Mono. I'm the lead artist for Wani.
All right, very excellent. So we can get started now. I guess we can start with the going in order, but with the pre-stream, we can start with some updates on Wani Hug that Gator.
Yeah, so we have a few.
If you will, yeah, go right ahead.
We have a few updates in store. Our team has been working pretty diligently about getting a nice kind of fresh coat and some redesigns on the cast. We've got some stuff to show off for you guys we're pretty excited about. So, Mono, if you'd like to pull that up.
I actually got it right here, right where I'm sketching. All right, so as you probably saw from last stream, we were working on several redesigns specifically for all the characters. Got Ben right here. You have Mia right here. You have the new one on the left and the old one on the right, as well as Liz.
You might want to zoom in a little bit more.
There we go. Let's go and recap that. Here we have Ben. New on the left, old on the right. Here we have Mia. And here we have Liz. And for this update, we've updated Damien as well. It's a little bit more of a dynamic looking person, more faded pants, a little bit more details added here and there. And overall, he looks a lot less bare than he did in his older sprite. And for one of the major changes, updated Olivia's sprite. So I want to go into a little bit of explanation on this one. It's for the original sprite. Proportions in comparison to all the other characters weren't quite lining up, so made the choice to adjust her, mainly her arm or legs and overall body shape to match the rest of the characters. So as you can see right here, we've got a little bit less rotund stomach here and a little bit less wide legs as compared to over here. And lastly, actually second to last, updated Inko's sprite. The right one was a little bit too broad in terms of shoulder and in terms of stature, but so we changed it to where he's a little bit more pudgy on the inside, and his stance is a little bit more relaxed and less stiff looking. Now, we also have a few more teacher characters, a few of which I'm sure you've probably seen before, and one of which you may not have seen before. Oops, gotta hide Ted right over there. Okay, you've probably seen one on the left. This is Miss Prockling. And on the right, I'm sure you may have seen her before. This is Mrs. Scaler. She is the principal of the high school. And in the center, we have Coach Sully. who is, as you can probably tell, a PE instructor.
And clearly a reference to the Demo Man from the popular video games
No.
Team Fortress 2.
You do
But in
beat
all
NFT though.
in all seriousness, we spent a lot of time on these redesigns. A lot of thought was poured into them by our art team and just throughout the entire team in general. We definitely wanted to kind of like breathe new life into the characters. You go through so many iterations of the characters as you're sketching and you're storyboarding them. You just kind of, as the project starts going on, you start getting more of a feel. Oh, this isn't quite right. This character needs a little bit of an update, et cetera, et cetera. So we just decided that we were going to kind of like focus our time in making sure that all these characters were up to speed and up to our standards. Obviously, we're going to update everything on the website about Wani to reflect these new characters. We should be doing that shortly, just so that way there's no kind of like old information available.
Yes, and I believe on our Wani website we also have a page for newsletters and game updates, similar to like we have for Exit. So we will be posting about it there as well.
Yeah, just another way that we can kind of like provide you guys with information outside of just these smoke signal streams. Just some fun fact about the secondary characters that are on display here. I think all three of them went through some pretty big changes. Definitely Coach Sully and definitely Mrs. Scalar.
I'm definitely
Obviously,
a big fan of the way that these are colored. They're really they're a good deal more vibrant than they were originally, and
Yeah,
I think in general they're really pleasing to look at.
yeah,
Our
they
friendly
definitely are more
neighborhood
vibrant.
Spidey was a real big contributor to a lot of the coloring in many of these characters.
Yeah, they really pop, and everybody, Spidey, Mono, and everybody involved did a really great job. I believe the initial sketch for Sully, he was a dino. He was kind of more of a very like traditional masculine, like carnivore type character. We kind of swapped away from that as we kind of fed him more development. Obviously, we wanted to kind of explore the space that Snoot game dug out with the human and dino interactions. So we were like, okay, we've got obviously humans. Everybody knows what a human is. We've got dinosaurs. People are familiar with dinosaurs. Is there a space we can play kind of in between those? So we started looking at more like ancestral humanoids that came before humans, obviously, that developed over millions of years. And just kind of like, oh, there's a lot of space you can play with that. There's a pretty different kind of evolutionary tree. There's a lot of branches that you can kind of pick from. So it was fun to kind of go through that and find, okay, this will work as a character and this maybe won't.
True. Will Sully wear random hats in the game?
No comment.
We're not touching onto the hat economy just quite yet. Perhaps we could do some sort of promotional deal with Steam where you can get a hat in TF2.
True.
Yes, the Wani hat.
The Wani hat, yeah, I doubt that happened.
When's the last time that Valve did one of those promotions for TF2? Like has a hat to tie into another
I'm not
game?
sure. I think Valve just wants everybody to kind of let TF2 die, so they have to stop. They can stop updating it.
Are you kidding me? TF2 will never die.
Yeah. So talking about Mrs. Scalar, as Mono mentioned, she is the principal of the high school. She was actually an interesting character to flip. So she actually was originally a man, but we decided for story reasons, changing her to be a woman. There was a lot of space to play in there, and we're like, okay, this is actually an exciting thing that we can do just by making that swap. Plus, I think this design was more just kind of electrifying than her design when she was Mr. Scalar. Also, Mrs. Scalar is, of course, a wonderful reference that I will pat myself on the back for to The Simpsons with the Principal Skinner. Skinner, Scalar.
and the other character, Miss Bopple.
It's Miss Crabapple.
Yes.
Yeah. We're never one to shy away from puns over here at the Wani development team. So
Very true. All right, so I saw there was a lineup that you were scrolling over before, Amano. Is there any other comments to have on that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Was there any extra comments on the lineup you had here?
No, I don't believe so. That was all. That was all I had to show off.
All right.
Well, we could talk a little bit more about like the updates to all their outfits.
All right.
They're
Liz
fairly
in particular,
self-explanatory,
I
but go ahead.
do enjoy.
Go ahead.
I just like Liz's new outfit. Look, gives her more of a well-educated feel to her, with that nice white blouse underneath the jacket or the sweater.
yeah, there some of the designs on Liz's outfit weren't kind of in line with her role in the story. So by kind of like making this change and like Sly said, making her more academic, it kind of reflects her personality more. Clothing obviously is a very easy way to represent a character's personality just in any media. So we wanted to, of course, bring these people to life as they should be, not kind of like misrepresent them. We also added a lot of just kind of finer details. If you notice here, Damien is sporting a lot of scales, a lot more scale detail in his arms, as well as some facial markings, which I really enjoy.
Yep.
Any
Also had a little
chance?
bit of a shirt design here.
Yeah, obviously the shirt design, of course, is what immediately jumps out at you. I like the subtle details that got added. If you look at Olivia, she's got bags under her eyes. She's a little more tired now. Of course, she also has that little bit of a shirt design peeking out from the hoodie, which I'm also a big fan of. So maybe these changes weren't like radical redesigns, but I think the devil's in the details and just kind of the really subtle things that we change really add up to kind of like make a better representation of these characters.
Overall, the main purpose was to prevent the clash in style of all our different ways of drawing, and went through a lot of work to ensure that everything stays in a unified and consistent, fluid form.
Yeah, obviously having different artists with different art styles on the team, you want to make sure that you have a unified style for everybody. So hats off to Mono. He did a lot of legwork on getting these sketches done. So
To all the
All right.
artists.
yeah, of course, to all the artists who worked on this, we always give them massive kudos. Is very much deserved.
I actually do want to give a shout out to Heartsick. He's been really helpful in a lot of the behind the scenes kind of work that's going on right now.
Yeah, so much development is behind the scenes that you guys will probably never see or even just not notice unless we call out to it. So thank you, Mono, for giving Heartsick that shout out because he definitely deserves it.
All right. Is that about all for Wani for now?
Just really
Terms
quick
of
to touch
art.
on the script. We're still working on the script. Obviously, the story is still being developed and written. As Nerd, I think Nerd maybe alluded to this, but we're kind of kicking into another gear on the script development. We got some additional writers that have carved out time to put to this project, to the Wani project. So that's really nice.
Yes, and if I may speak on this a little bit. So,
Sure.
in regards to Snoot Game, when we were writing it, it took us so long to write the script. Most of the assets were made in between January and March. Obviously, with a few coming before and after, and we were still making stuff up till release. But the majority of them happened there. So we already have the advantage of already having a bunch of assets finished early, and this is all to say that we're making excellent time. Especially once the script is done, we can get a definitive list of things that we need and or don't need. we can really start cranking these out as fast as we can.
Yeah, I know in early builds of Snoot there were like dev assets. There's
Mhm.
not really going to be dev assets for us because we already have a full suite to play with. So we don't need a stand-in for Olivia's sake because we already have her and she looks great.
Definitely better than the dev assets that we were running with.
I mean, I don't think there's I don't think there's anybody who would say that those assets didn't have a lot of heart and soul in them.
Yeah, that's all.
I think little doodle.
Real quick to just speak on the music of Wani. That's also we've had a lot of production in that field as well. You guys probably heard if you were here for the pre-stream that we were debuting a new track that's going to be in the game. If you couldn't catch that, you can always go back and watch the recording, or I'm sure we'll make it available somewhere. Maybe we'll tweet it out. But obviously, our music guy has been doing a lot of work, so it's really nice and rewarding to see that come to fruition.
All right. We got something saying again. You'll be planning to update the sprites on the website anytime soon. Yes, we are. That will be in the coming weeks.
Look at that little Olivia.
We may even
Good to
cut.
go.
We may replace the trailer assets with the new assets because I think that shouldn't be too difficult. But we will see.
All right. Is that about it for Wani?
Somebody had one additional question. What are the chances of a character made exclusively for Snoot Game making some sort of cameo in Wani? I think we've actually discussed this amongst the team. Characters that were entirely unique for Snoot and weren't obviously part of the other project, which I won't mention, but everyone knows what it is. I mean, technically, we could have an appearance of them, and I think we're kind of playing around with a few. We haven't quite 100% nailed down whether or not we want to or not. I don't think they would have a big story presence. It would probably more of a bonus chapter type of thing. But it's definitely something that we thought of, and it's a nice, rewarding callback to make to earlier project and these characters that everybody likes. I was repeatedly vetoed on a crossover from Wani and Snoot Game for that I won't mention any further of, but people threatened to riot if we included it, so it's probably best that we don't.
I still think it'd be funny.
I mean, I think it's funny, which means we probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah, true. All right, very nice. If that's all, we can move over to exit for a little while. And
Suppose we should start off first with what we have for exit, which would be some very, very interesting assets.
hold on, I think we have technical difficulties. There it is. Okay, excellent. All right, so we have a few things to show off here. First of all, we have a few extra NPCs up there on the top left. The one on the farthest left there is made by a familiar face some of you may recognize. Her name is Berkeley, and she's going to be a minor character appearing. Wanted to show her off since we're very proud of how her design turned out. And then right next to her, we have the daytime sprite version of Tulip, who is the main shopkeeper around town. Also something that I've been wanting to show off for a while. Personally, one of my more liked designs. I really like how she turned out. Very nice. And then on the right there, we have a few examples of in-battle sprites. So some games, a few precise examples elude me at the moment, but they'll have when you reach when you're able to score a critical hit, then there'll be a little cut into the face of whatever character. So we're gonna have stuff like that, a bunch of little flashy bits. to really tie the whole thing in together. Mostly we have for the last month we've just been cracking down on a bunch of intermittent sprites, just a bunch of throwaway, not throwaway, but like just basic. Oh, here's every character in a blocking stance. Here's every character in a feinting stance. Here's every character in this, that, or the other. So just getting a lot of the menial work out of the way. And we're getting pretty close to having the battles almost completely animated. We just need a few more things. It's a long way to go, but we're a long way there. And then on the bottom of the screen here, we have an example of the running animations, which we just finished the other day. And these are from Morgan. If you could press play on that. Yes, very nice.
Look at him go.
He is going. And we have a number of cool and neat ideas we have for overworld and overworld movement. Okay. Overworld movement. I don't want to get into them just yet, but we are planning something, and it has resulted in a minor setback. But we are completely set to go full steam ahead now that we figured all this stuff out.
Yeah.
So something to mention, and I want to get into a bit, is it is now very amazingly is getting to be the start of summer, and a lot of the devs are able to be able to spare a whole lot more time away from uh, college, school, other such things, certain jobs, and development across Exit and Wani is about to greatly increase. Additionally, we've also introduced a new person into the programming team, and we're very excited to have him on. So, on top of all that, we of having more programmers available, we have an extra one. So, I'd like to soon be able to show off a lot more of the game in action, as opposed to just showing off sprites and talking about their role in the game and the story here. We're planning to release a demo in a few months. Yes, so we have an idea here. This is something that another dev brought up. So the main demo, I may have mentioned this last stream as well. So the main demo, the thing that we're building up to, it is going to take a while and it's going to be fairly lengthy. So the idea that we have is setting up another demo, I guess you can call it an alpha, just to show off and prepare the game mechanics, the basic fighting and stuff. And then bring in the playtesters that we have and then show them that. And that's probably something that we can get done, or it is something naturally that we'll be able to get done a lot quicker. So then we can have 2 different runs of playtesting. The first one testing the main game mechanics. Then once those are finished, then we can go ahead and finish the rest of the game and then do another round of playtesting and then release, is the idea.
Yeah.
Will Exit 665 be on Steam? Yes.
We do have beta testers in the wings, thanks to the Indiegogo.
Yes, we have a number of people that I believe it was if you paid $20 or more, if you donated $20 or more. And we do have a list of people to email about that. So when the time comes, as so long as you still have that email, then we will be reaching out and saying it's about time. Going to be assembling the playtesting forces.
Yes, the crack team of beta testers.
Very true. All right, do you have any extra comments, Sly?
Namely, I did want to go at least a little bit further as for like why we are having a little bit more of an advanced movement system, as well as the cut-ins for the combat sprites. If you'd be fine with that.
Well, don't spoil absolutely everything. I'd like some things to remain hidden until we're able to show them off.
Okay.
If you can work around that, then go ahead.
Well, in that case, I'll stick with the combat sprites, in which during combat we plan to show off the most of the characters with their personalities in their moves, which isn't just in how their playstyle will be, but also in the presentation of these sprites along with each other. It's something I'm personally excited for because we have a lot of really cool things going on with them. Like oh man, I'm really excited to see them in motion. Honestly,
Yeah. Okay, we got a question here. How open will Exit 665 be in terms of points of no return? Um,
Ooh.
there, there will not be points of no return, but also I'm going to stick an asterisk after there. There are certain story events. There are not. The generally speaking, I want the level design to be very open ended. But obviously, when it's time for a cutscene, it's time for a cutscene. There's really no way around it. There's not going to be any particular area planned that you only visit once and you can't ever go there again.
Ooh, this is a good question. Is it spoilery to ask if you will have different sprites depending on how injured the characters get?
It's an idea. It's something to keep in mind, but we're not currently planning that based on the sheer amount of sprites that we already have to make for each character. Will there be Earthbound-like save points, or can you save anywhere? That's actually something we're still talking about in terms of level design. I'm thinking the idea, or what I'm leaning towards, is having designated safe rooms, for lack of a better term, sort of like Resident Evil, where you can do a number of things. You can swap out party members. You can on the fly. You can do a number of things. Maybe heal up a bit. Not speaking in definitives here at all, but that's what I'm leaning towards. Being able to save in designated safe rooms where the party is able to relax a little bit. Maybe have a few opportunities for dialogue, perhaps. Is there a Family Guy? What do you mean? There's several.
There are going to be sampling.
I don't quite understand what that means. Sampling or like oh right. So we
Oh,
actually I had heard about this. And I did ask the musician about this. So everything in, or not everything, but we looked into it, and the things that were used in both of those tracks are completely royalty free and just part of a sample for what the software that he uses.
yeah, it was
So it's just a coincidence that they're using the same samples. We did look into that. We did hear about that.
yeah, a very funny situation. Like,
Yeah.
horrors beyond my comprehension,
Real.
beyond all our comprehensions.
Yeah, because that's the copyright system. There's some pretty cool enemies in Exit 2. All right, so we have any extra comments on Exit, do you think? Let's see, we talked
Mm,
on...
Can we get a close up on Tulip? I know someone's going to ask, so get that out of the way.
We can always just post post these assets individually later. On the topic of Family Guy, will there be a Peter NPC? There used to be, and we posted this on Twitter when it happened. Somehow there was an error with the way that the game prints to log, where touching Peter Griffin will crash the game.
Yeah, so sadly he had to be excommunicated from the game because of that. Ah, there she is.
Real. All right. Uh, so yeah, that's updates on just about everything. You heard a new track for Exit that we just showed off here. Very nice. It's also a disclaimer. It is, to my knowledge, still partially incomplete. So the version that you'll be hearing in game is going to be at least slightly different than the version in the pre-stream. And other than that, that's music. We've covered art assets. Talking about how programming is about to kick off. I believe that is about it for uh, Exit, unless I'm forgetting something important.
Hmm. Well, I guess for now we could start taking questions.
I've been taking questions.
I
We
mean,
can take them
like,
for a few. We can start taking questions for another few minutes, and then we can start wrapping up. So just exit or Wani.
so yes, start hitting us up with questions, guys.
I guess here's a question that we can prompt ourselves,
Mhm.
and this is mostly aimed at the artists here. How difficult do you find the process of sketching these characters who are not human? Do you find it more difficult than drawing just like kind of what you see in real life? Do you find it easier because your imagination can go places? Do you find it kind of the same because they're both humanoids? I was curious myself.
It's kind of roughly the same for me, at least. Uh, like there's a certain process to it, and I guess at a certain point you just stop making the distinction and thinking about it. Trying to think of a good example here. Like after a while, it just stops registering as this is a lady that is an anthropomorphic tulip, and you just start thinking, oh, this is tulip. Or you stop thinking, oh, this is the guy with a made out of plastic. It has a Walmart bag for a head, and you start thinking, oh, it's Sten. And they have their own rules, and to a certain extent, it's similar to humans.
Given that Exit is going to be obviously a game of combat, which Wani has none of, do you have any kind of outlandish features planned for Exit combat? You know, any kind of like, obviously there's a very standards, you know, the holy trinity of tank healer DPS, which is very common in a lot of games. Do you have any like oddball characters?
We have a
Yes,
couple
in fact,
planned, yes.
it's that's part of why that's part of like designing each character, how to make them really stand out with their abilities compared to the others. Like, I don't know how much I can really get into it because there's
Mm,
pages on pages of stuff we can talk about with each of them.
right. Yeah, we should wait for the gameplay footage to speak for itself. Do we have any more games planned post exit? Yes, we do. The first I want to comment on. So we have all these extra games that we're making as well alongside everything else, just in our free time. Uh, she's a bit sluggish and she likes you a lot. We're gonna keep on making those, and we do have a few ideas for ones we can just use as little epilogues to exit here and there is an idea, and we can just probably keep doing that in general with our future games. We do have a few ideas for what we can do after exit. Uh, Swapping genres again to try something else new, and I think that might be a good idea a good way to go about it. Like on the one hand, we're consistently making these small VNs, and on the other, we're trying big, ambitious new things. I think that's a pretty hopeful thing to look forward to.
Let's see. Going to stick to Anthro? Probably.
Likely, we'll see when we get there. Will we stream Goodbye Volcano High when it comes out?
That was one of our promises.
I would very much like to. Yes, my computer actually works a good deal better. If some people recall, it actually crashed during the Night in the Woods stream completely, and I figured out what was causing that, and it now works a good deal better.
Yeah, but the question is, how optimized is your computer going to be for Goodbye Volcano High?
I don't know, man.
I can't say that with this stream.
All those 2D images really add up.
All that animation.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh yeah, no.
So somebody had a question in chat.
hmm
Obviously, Snoot was a big project, but RPGs, kind of the jump from a visual novel to an RPG, is a huge step. How difficult have you found the process to make and produce Exit compared to Snoot?
There's a lot more planning that goes into it because there's taken into account these new game mechanics that we're always talking about. We're always like proposing new ideas and trying to really figure out what can fit, what can't fit, how that'll tie into the story and the gameplay itself. There is so much planning for an RPG compared to just a visual novel.
Well, I can put it this way. Yeah. Going off of that a bit. When talking about a visual novel, basically you have the script, and then the script dictates what assets you need, and it's a very linear thing. Unless it's like some crazy, extremely branching visual novel with dozens of endings. Its new game at the very least is extremely linear. Uh, so in that regard, it was very simple. It's just you put the script in as is, you put the assets in where the script goes, and then you make them look pretty with movement. Very different with Exit and how game mechanics are working. So we're learning along the way. We're putting together a process of putting in game mechanics and ideas, and then discussing them. We're going to have a cutoff point in the near future where we're going to say, okay, that's it. We're not talking about any new features. This is what we're going with, and we're not going to be changing anything.
A voice playthrough of Goodbye Volcano High. Can anyone match that voice actor's pitch for Fang? I don't think
It would
so.
be very difficult for us to probably do that.
Les fish. Holy crap! It's literally me with Tulip.
If GVH goes under, would you buy the rights? Well, the game's not going to go under. It would be the question of the studio, but I believe it's probably, if it is financed by Sony, Sony probably has an option written to the contract that were the studio to fail, all of the products would fall probably under Sony's ownership. So unless you think a bunch of Joe Schmoes can pony up probably a couple $100,000 or $1 million, it's probably not going to happen.
I doubt it'd be that much, but even still, that's... Maybe we can look into some investors to co-own it.
For legal reasons, everything that we're talking about right now is not serious and should not be taken seriously.
Only a fool would take this as fact.
All right. So we've been going for about 30-ish minutes now, so yeah, we can start wrapping it up. We could probably take exactly one more question. Has there been any on the Discord?
No, everyone's still
Okay.
everyone's still freaking out about Olivia managing to lose weight.
True.
She went on a diet for you guys. How could you be so harsh to her?
So true and so sad.
The architects among us were displeased, but
Yeah, sorry, Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, here's a good one. Super excited for the OST. Mind if I ask if there's any secret bosses, routes, and exit with super cool soundtracks?
No comment yet. I don't want to spoil whether or not we do or don't have certain things and make promises where we may not be able to fulfill them and whatnot.
yeah, you don't want to give away the farm.
And also, if I tell you that they're secret bosses, that also kind of gives it away.
Yeah, they wouldn't be secret anymore.
True.
I believe that's probably going to be our last question, so we can go ahead and
yeah, we can
our
start.
presenters can give their wrap-ups.
Yeah, closing out.
As always, thank you guys for attending our Smoke Signal streams. We're going to, again, continue to try these once a month. We are moving, of course, to the second Monday of the month rather than the first due to new scheduling conflicts. As we said before, please look to our websites. We're going to try to post some newsletter updates for everybody just to keep people kind of keyed in. And of course, we are going to update the website with the new Wani assets. So look for that in kind of the immediate future.
All right, well, it was good talking about this with you guys on chat.
Yep. All right. So yeah, that's about it from us. Thank you very much. If Mono has any final comments he wants to say before we fade out.
No, that's it. But thanks for all your support, everyone.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks,
please,
guys.
Please follow us on Twitter, on Twitch, just kind of any social media that we are present on. We always appreciate your guys' questions and hopefully you may get some new information there. So thanks everybody for attending.
Okay, thank you, person streaming. You can fade us out now.